Welcome back to Art Fennell Reports.
It's a family nightmare that few can imagine. Your loved one goes to the hospital to get life-saving surgery, but instead, the treatment they receive kills them. Now, this has happened to dozens of Americans after they were given a popular blood-thinning drug called heparin. The problem is, the heparin was tainted. Earlier this week, members of Congress examined the reasons behind tainted heparin. 3 times over the last week, a House subcommittee heard testimony on how the popular blood thinner heparin ended up killing dozens of Americans. The most emotional testimony came from family members who lost loved ones before that drug could be pulled off the shelf.
My wife Bonnie died in December. After receiving heparin that was later recalled by Baxter. My son Randy died a month later under the same circumstances.
As a nurse, I thought that I would be there to save my husband from any errors, but I guess I was naive. I never thought the life-saving medication we were relying on might be contaminated.
Doctors blame 81 deaths and hundreds of severe allergic reactions on contaminated batches of heparin. Baxter, the drug maker, recalled the drug earlier this year. Lawmakers wanted the company's CEO to explain how contaminated raw ingredients from China ended up in a drug on the U.S. market.
We're alarmed that one of our products was used in what appears to have been a deliberate scheme to adulterate a life-saving medication.
The Food and Drug Administration hasn't ruled on whether the contamination was deliberate or accidental, but it did find the drug contained another chemical that mimics heparin and can't be detected in routine testing. Still, lawmakers grilled the FDA over their approach to Chinese imports.
Can you imagine what we would do if Al-Qaeda had put some foreign substance in heparin? Can you imagine what the threat level would go to?
There's an import alert out now for all heparin products from the Chinese plant where the contamination occurred. But the FDA admits they only have inspectors at 90 of the country's 321 ports. This is serious stuff, and joining me to talk more about tainted heparin is attorney Jeffrey Colino. He represents one of the dozens of Americans who've died after taking this drug, the families of these victims. Attorney Colino, first of all, let's go back to what I said earlier. 81 deaths so far have been reported from tainted heparin, and if it's proven, as it was alleged in the report there, that this may have been deliberate, this is a criminal investigation.
Well, it certainly is just like a criminal investigation. And as it's been pointed out, if this were Al-Qaeda doing this, we would stop at nothing. And the type of police force that we need is much like the DEA or the FBI. If you were smuggling drugs into the country, they would do everything in their power to stop that. And the FDA needs to do that here. They need to be thinking, what kind of scheme, what kind of trick will they come up with? And you've got to be there to stop them. Because with China, the landscape has changed. They will try everything in their power to go ahead and put profit in front of safety. The crude heparin would cost $900 a pound. The substitute that they used is $9 a pound.
Wow.
They don't care about American consumers.
Who's potentially liable here, though? The FDA, the Chinese government, the dock workers, the makers of heparin? I mean, who do you go after in a lawsuit when someone has been lost as a result of taking this bad stuff?
Well, let's start at the top. The FDA didn't have the funding that they needed. It would take another $250 million just so they could inspect every plant in China every other year. So while they should have done more, they lacked the funding. Now, the companies, they should have known better. They're responsible for quality control and quality assurance. And the FDA went in and inspected this plant in China and found numerous atrocious violations.
What did they find in this heparin anyway? It said it was contaminated from stuff from imports from China. What kinds of stuff?
It's an animal cartilage called over-sulfated chondroitin sulfate. It sounds a little too big words, but OCSC for short. And essentially it derives from animal cartilage, and it mimics heparin, and it's very hard to detect But the problem is you will have very serious allergic type reactions and death. The most serious is that your blood pressure will drop significantly and for sustained periods of time. If you have a blood pressure drop or if you have a heart condition or anything, you will likely die.
Well, there have been countless investigative stories on the black import market, on how manufacturers overseas will come up with alternative drugs that they then sell to America and all around the world for that matter, that look just like what it's supposed to be, but it's really a fake because they're trying to get paid. Is that one of the suspected things that happened here, that this may have been something that was on the black market and not necessarily that it was criminally inserted to mimic heparin to try and kill somebody?
Well, you know what? The unfortunate part is these drugs were sold by America's most reputable drug companies, Baxter, Tyco. This was put right in the chain for the distributors of heparin throughout the world and sold all over the world. It wasn't like someone went on the internet and tried to get a cheaper drug. People went to the hospital, people went to the pharmacy.
But who sells to them? Who sells? Where do the big drug companies like that get their stuff from overseas? They're dealing directly with the manufacturer, right?
Here's the problem. There's a major plant in China, and they get their source from small workshops and factories all over in the villages of China. And that's where the problem seems to have started, because in those villages and workshops, they went ahead and put the tainted ingredient in instead of the real ingredient because they wanted the money.
We also pointed out that we only have 90 inspectors looking over this stuff, and there are some more than 300 import sites where there needs to be inspection. It's just not enough manpower. What do you see on the horizon in terms of future lawsuits? I imagine that you think that there would be some success in bringing these suits to bear.
Oh, absolutely. The CEO of Baxter freely admits that they should have done more and failed to do it. I expect that the 81 is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to see a lot more deaths come out of this, or that will be discovered from this, and we're going to have to hold accountable the manufacturer in China. We're going to have to hold accountable the distributors in the United States, and we're going to have to go to Congress and make sure they do what's right with the FDA.
Meantime, heparin is off the shelves, correct?
Any heparin coming from this plant is stopped coming into the country, but heparin from other sources is available.
Okay, and I don't know if people will feel very confident about taking it right now until this matter is cleared up, but they are so advised anyway. Jeffrey Colino, thank you very much for sharing your time with me on this.
Thank you.